Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the second round of the Straight Line Motorsports GT3 Championship here live at Suzuka for the Pro Division. I am your host and commentator for today, SDM_RRDZ, and today, once again, we've had the Pro-Ams run today in basically a very chaotic and very crazy race in the Pro-Am division here, with Dude taking the win in that, and Mushalat taking second place. And Superboy, after his disqualification at Bathurst, made it up for a third place at here today. We did not hear any podium interviews for the top two, unfortunately, of Mushalat and Dude, so that's an unfortunate case for them. So, if you're wondering from earlier when I stated about Kyle and Sorry I Got No ID, unfortunately they have been booted from the server and the series, unfortunately. So the two-time and defending Pro-Am champion of Kyle, he will unfortunately leave and will be making work elsewhere, wherever he chooses to go. So we do wish him the best of luck, and as well to Sorry I Got No ID. But we still turn our attentions ahead to the people racing here today. So let's go down the runners for today, of course. We have James Head, of course, in the number 7 Lexus, who is coming off of a podium finish here at Bathurst. So he is coming in third in points today from Mount Panorama. SLM Polymer, who comes from a P2 finish at Bathurst, so he will come home. So he's coming in very strong on points. Unfortunately, we do not have Elliott in this race. So the race 1 winner at Bathurst, who won the Pro Division, he is not here today. So he will be sacrificing that points lead, unfortunately. So very, very interesting developments for Straight Line Motorsports GT3 League itself. Then we have the man who is pacing the who posted the fastest evaluation session, who was the fastest man in the evaluation sessions. He will be one to look out for, Swift. So going right to the Pro Division here. He did miss race 1 at Bathurst, but he will be looking for points here at race 2. Keep an eye out for him today. And then LK V12 man 123 in the number 99 M6 GT3. This is a new entry, of course, because they were initially going to run Aston Martins, but now V12 man will be running in the second BMW alongside TIJS. So that number 99 BMW will be running here, of course. And then, of course, Jack Mia, who is also here today. He will be looking for some points today after his unfortunate disconnect out of 4th place late in the race. So he will be very, very hungry as agreed. SMM Ure. We got Ure here in the Audi. He'll be looking for some points after a 4th place. K&K Dot will be partnering in the second Audi. And then we have Benel85 in the Lexus. So we have 2 Audis here today in the hands of K&K Dot and SMM Ure. Qualifier now started. Everyone will be wanting to get their laps in, of course, as quickly as possible. And TJIS in the 78 BMW is the first man on track, and of course, showing his lovely car to the fans of Suzuka. You can hear the crowds in the distance. And I think someone might be having a pit glitch in the... Oh, and that's Benel85 having a pit glitch issue, so that is not going to be good. So, James Head now, I think he's noticing the issue, and he might be having all of us back out. So, Benel85 is still stuck in the pits, so if Mushalat can... Go on 1 second. For Ben, unfortunately. And he backs out of the session. SLM Polymer, very good racer. And we have Doug Barrow in the 13 Costa Honda, and as well as Hair Razor in the 69. So V12 man in the other BMW. K and K Dot in the second Audi R8. And it is the number 04 Keelan Leah. I hope I said that correctly. So now K and K Dot, the sister Audi to Ure, who is new to the series. Thank you for confirmation, Keelan. We hope you do enjoy watching the Straight Line Motorsports GT3 Championship. Jack Mia in 36. And then we have Ure in the 77 Audi, who is basically let the rest of the field have its clean air. And he will be hungry for some points here today after his 4th place finish at Bathurst. Palmer going back to the pits, and it looks like we have everyone abandoning their laps. So, unless I missed something, yes, Mouchelot telling the whole field to leave so we can get Ben L 85 back on track. So, I think you have to physically back out. Oh, and that will be a room disconnect, so that's pretty interesting right there. So Keelan Lee says, I've raced against all except maybe 2 guys here, and K&K, Jack, and Ure are all part of Side Max Motor Works. Alright, so thank you for the team name confirmation right there. I will start using that more often. So now we wait for the room to pop back up. So now while we wait for the lobby to pop back up, I will take a minute to grab a quick bite to eat real quickly, and then when everything is sorted out, we will get back underway with racing. So I take my bite to eat, obviously, and then, of course, we hop straight back into qualifying. Hopefully the pit glitch for Benel85 has been sorted out. Let's go on board with it. It does go as planned. And it looks like the pit glitch has been sorted, so qualifying will be resumed as expected. We have 11 cars here today, and all 11 have made it out to the track. So, no pit glitch for Benel, which is a very good thing in the other in the second Lexus. And you can tell he's just trying to get the feel out of the car, which is a very interesting tactic right there. Oh, and it looks like the Audis are very, very much lagging into one another, so we will have to take an eye out for that. Ure in the Sidemax Motorworks, one of the both Audis. K&K Dot goes on through. The Audi seems to be a very, very competitive chassis in the championship. TJIS 78 and the number 78 BMW. He'll go through. Doug Barrow in the Costa sponsored number 13 Honda NSX. He will go up. SLM Polymer in the 24 Mercedes. And then, of course, the number 95 of Swift. He will be a very, very interesting eye to keep a lookout for in this championship as he makes his first start of the season here. So, for all these cars who will be coming through for their first laps, we might start seeing times dip into the sub 2 minutes if they are quick enough. So now qualifying with about 8 minutes to go as these guys set off for their first flying laps right now. Swift will be the first one across the line. Polymer to follow suit, and then Doug Barrow, TJIS, K&K Dot, Hair Razor, V12 Man, James Head, Jack Mia, Ure, which I think might have had an incident somewhere on track, is very, very far off, unless that's just him slowing up. And then there's Benel85 in the 8 Lexus, who he had a top 5 finish as well from Bathurst, so he will be one to take a look out for as well. Swift now making his way through the S's. What can he do to hopefully try and capitalize for a pole position? Keep in mind, he was the fastest man of the weekend for the evaluation sessions a couple weekends ago, so he will be a person of interest in this championship to keep an eye out for. So Keelan Leah says, so I reckon they are quicker now. They are quicker drivers because it is the Pro Championship of the Pro-Am guys. We had about 8 cars start in Pro-Am. We had about, we had 8 guys starting Pro-Am. We had 6 finish in that series as racing as well. We had 11 starting here today, which is a very, very strong number indeed. Mercedes possible may get a BOP change. In my opinion, I think the Nissan should get a change because it's seriously good, really, really strong on straight line speed at the moment. Unless it's set up really well, and I can't really set up a GTR, so now as we come to the conclusion of our first set of flying laps, as we come to the conclusion of first 11 flying laps, Swift coming to the chicane now. His teammate is following behind. Final corner right now for Swift. What can he do in the number 95 Mercedes? We are setting a 1:59.5, which is a very, very strong time. A 2-minute 5:95 for Polymer, and a Doug Barrow with a 2:001 in the 13 Costa Honda. A penalty for TJIS with a 2:01.5, so he's got some work to do. Hair Razor takes 4th. K&K Dot with a 2:04.5, LK V12 Man with a 2:01.1, James Head with a 1:59.7 setting 2nd, Jack Mia with a 2-minute dead, so that puts him up into 3rd. Who else has got to come across the line? Yuri now, what can he do? A 1:59.5, putting him 17 thousandths down off the pole position time. What a strong showing right there for him. And then where is Benel85? He comes across the start finish line now with a 2:05.9, so he's had an incident somewhere on the track. But your top 5 right now, 159.515, 159.5 for Swift, 159.5 for Ure, and 159.7 for Jameset. That is your top 3 right now. And then Jack Mia close behind, half a second off of Swift, but is oh so close to a sub 2-minute lap time in the 36 Nissan. Super, super strong showing right there. Now Swift right now coming into Spoon. What can he do on his second flying lap with about less than half the session to go? Oh, and he gets a little wrong out of the Spoon, so Swift right now, what's he looking at like for sector times right about now? He's 0.3 down. So mixed sector times amongst the rest of the field here. So this will be interesting, nonetheless, to take a look at that. The man on provisional pole right about now, what has he gotten to do? Oh, he's actually going to come to the pits and get some fresh rubber. So this is a very interesting tactic here for the pole-sitting Mercedes right about here. No one improving on their lap. Oh, there's a lot of drama going on at the second chicane. Oh, and Jack Mia has gone completely off. K&K Dot with a 59.56. That's 2 Audis in the top 4. Jack Mia with a hard incident. Oh, and he's out of mass disconnect as well. Oh my goodness me, that is not good news right there for Jack Mia, unfortunately. Ure, no improvement by 16 thousandths of a second, so very strong consistency for the Spanish driver in the Sidemax Motorworks Audi right there. The number 77. Ben L85 goes 5th fastest in the number 8 Lexus, 3 Lexuses in the top 5, and the Audis, 2 of them in the top 4. But it is the Mercedes of Swift who is still on pole, gets it completely sideways right there. That's what the fans like to see right about there. Keenan Lead says, Nissan was changed, but people weren't happy, so it was reversed. Merck has also won 2 FIA championships in a row, so they may change the car for a little. Comes down to, I guess it comes down to mindset, in all honesty, so we'll have to wait and see about that. Ure now, he's setting the fastest sector 1, or sector 2 out of anybody, so we will keep an eye out for Ure. What has he got? TJIS pulls over to the side to get out of the way. Jameset coming to Spoon. Swift to 130R. K&K Dot. Oh, someone's binned it wrong. Who is that? Oh, and that's V12 Man, who is currently 9th in the session. So not a good day for the BMWs, which are both 9th and 10th. So they're bringing up the back of the field. SLM Polymer goes 3rd fastest, displacing the Lexus and the Audi, and the Lexuses and the Audi. So he goes up to 159.5. The top 3 is separated by 53 thousandths of a second. This is what you like to see right here. Ure is setting some very, very quick times, and Hairraiser moving up into 8th. So, like I said, the top 5 covered by 53 thousandths of a second. How close do you like it in the Straight Line Motorsports GT3 Championship? Ure now coming across the line. Is it an improvement? It is to pole position by a whopping 0.2 of 59.252 for Ure in the number 77 Audi. So now, this might be Swift's final lap if he can knock off a banger. So, the 2 Mercedes now, 2nd and 3rd, but the Audi of Ure with a 19.9 for a final sector, so that is a very quick final sector indeed. And he's already 0.2 up on his fastest time, so we might even see times within the 58s. So this is a very, very impressive showing for this gentleman right about here. Swift right now, he hasn't had a good lap. Another purple sector for Ure out of sector 2. So keep an eye out for Ure. We will go on board with him from the driver's eye. What you're seeing is what he is seeing. 20 seconds ago, this will be his final lap. Can he put a whopping 58 on the board? While we continue to monitor Ure, Swift right about now, and Polymer both coming to the line. But the first man on track will be Doug Barrow to close out. Qualifying will come to a close this time by. So final laps are coming in. Doug Barrow down in 7th. What can he do in the 13 Mercedes? Palmer behind, and so is Swift. Palmer does not improve. Palmer does not improve as well. No improvement for Swift, so that might be a guaranteed pole position. K&K Dot Hair Raiser moving up into 8th. And K&K Dot has displaced Palmer and has moved up into 3rd. So that's very, very good right there. What can James Head do? No improvement there. So, who else is coming across the line right now? Urey now with a 158.9. That is a strong show right there. Pole position by half a second right about there. What a great showing right there. V12 man going up into 10th. TJS 159.7 last lap, bumping himself up into 5th. Ben L85, he moves up into 7th, but SMM Urey 11 and the Sidemax Motorworks Audi with a 58.974, taking pole by half a second. So we move on the way with the start of the field with the absence of the Nissan of Jack Mia. 58.9, 58.59, and this will be very, very interesting to see right here. Audi, Mercedes lock up the top 4. Then it's BMW, Honda, and this BMW, Lexus, and then the 2 Lexuses, then the Hondas, and then the BMW. So this will be a very, very interesting race. 60 minutes on the clock. Who's going to get the good start? And we are green flag racing away, and the torque of the Mercedes is going to come in, but he's got his teammate to back up. Palmer has not had a good start, and Swift on the first corner has taken the lead of this race. Palmer, who is in 4th place, has dropped 2 positions at the expense of the Honda of Doug Barrow and the Lexus of James Head, and we're getting already sideways indeed. Urey is putting the pressure on right now. Oh, I have to do this as usual. Urey is going to put the pressure on him. Oh, and he's in fine form. Urey is going to put a lot of pressure right there. K&K Dot has got back up into 3rd. This is going to be a very, very close battle indeed between most of these guys. Not laying an inch of room between one another. Super close racing amongst these guys. Just amazing stuff, of course. And Palmer has moved down and moved even further down into 7th. So confirmation from Swift, messed up spoon on my hot one. So that's a pretty much cost him his position right about there. Ben L85 down to 9th. TGIS into 6th. Doug Barrow with a strong start into 4th place right about now. Now Swift right about here, getting a little bit wide, but Urey's going to put the pressure on him. It is super close racing between the top 2. The Mercedes better in a straight line, but that Audi is going to be very, very strong in a corner. Can Urey force a move up to the inside? Oh, he's looking about it, maybe. Oh, it is super close between the top 3. It might have been some contact between team and cars. And what can Swift do is now he stretches the gap away. A 59.9 for the first lap of this race. Oh, so close indeed. I can't believe what I'm seeing right about now. This is amazing stuff right here between the top 3. The Sidemax Motorworks Audis, of course, having to work in tandem a little bit to try and get that Mercedes of Swift. And like I said, if I see another chaotic race start like we had with the Pro-Am race in this race, I am literally going to walk away for about a good solid 5 minutes or so. And because it once was a very chaotic race in the Pro-Am division, of course, even for 8 people. So, and the action is yet to be had. And look at this train of cars here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Started by Doug Barrow and all the way down to SLM Palmer down in 7th. Oh, and TGIS getting a little sideways out of Degner too. And then another train of cars started by Ben L85, Hair Raiser, and V12 Man. And it looks like V12 Man might have been in a bit of contact by the front end damage. And Hair Raiser might have gotten into a bit of contact as well. So, of all things considered. Oh, and K&K getting a little sideways right about here. Yuri getting a little sideways. Oh, and he's lost the traction a little bit, so K&K Dot's going to take second place away from Yuri. So, a purple sector for Yuri, who's on a very strong showing. Oh, and K&K Dot's on around! Oh my goodness gracious, out of second place! The 04 Audi has gone it wrong out of 130R, and all of a sudden has bit the dust, and all of a sudden it is now one Audi versus one Mercedes up at the front. Oh my goodness gracious me. K&K Dot looked like... And of course, hopefully no hash tactics for the Audis, and of course that might have been a bit too late for that message right there, as you just seen. Lightly off then for the Audi, and so now the gap now 1.5 seconds now between the first place and second place cars. The Mercedes, a very strong car here, but at the same time the Audi, also a great car, grabbing pole by, could have been a lot worse, yes indeed, but unfortunately, well, I say that, but it looks like things might have bit the dust for K&K Dot, as he's had another incident somewhere on the course, but all of a sudden the Audis, one of them at least, is not in fine form, and look at the damage on the front of the car, right about there. And someone has gone off somewhere. Oh, and that's the BMW of TJIS, who has gone it all wrong once again, so he's bit the dust as well. That L85 stretching him out, getting some clean air between him and V12 man. Hair Razor putting the pressure as well on that BMW. And now Cullimer got himself back up into fourth, which is very, very good. James Head all of a sudden has moved up into third place. So that's a great showing for him. That's one of the few cars I didn't monitor from the start, but he was down the pecking order a little bit at the start of this race, but now he's all of a sudden moved himself up into third place. That's wonderful news right there. Yuri, of course, still in hot pursuit of the man in first. Swift is still putting on the pressure. Swift is not an easy guy to put a lot of pressure. Swift is not easy in terms of putting pressure on himself. He can still do a lot of work and be able to maintain and withstand a lot of pressure, of course. Now, while the battle for the lead, or the chase for the front, is still going on between these top two. 3 seconds is the gap between Yuri and James Head. And James Head in the comments said that his car wasn't suited for Suzuka. James Head, you better take that back right about now. So, Palmer in fourth, the 24 Mercedes, the other Mercedes to teammate Swift, doing an excellent good job right here. Doug Merrill with a 9/10 penalty, so he's got to serve that. An L85 in the 8 in 6th. V12 man Razor still bringing up the field in 7th and 8th. TJS 78 in 9th. And then K&K Dot, who at the moment is still trying to regain some positions. Oh, and he's put a foot wrong again as well. Not getting onto the gravel trap. Gravel trap is a very good thing. So these guys very much in fine form here, of course. On board now with the Mercedes of Swift. And you can see within the distance, right about there, is the Audi. Oh, Yuri's getting it very sideways indeed, so he's got to correct that slide and lose a bit of time in the process. So that's not good news there. Oh, when I say that, someone's gone off in the first corner, and it is James Head out of third place. So the Lexus, and he's had an incident somewhere. So, and all of a sudden, he's bumped his way back down to 10th. So what has happened there? He was in third at one point after a very abysmal qualifying spot, but all of a sudden, he's now down to 10th. So he's coming in third. He's coming in this race third on points, and he has the chance to make up some considerable points since Elliott is not here. And now he has a very, very tall order to make back up for the front of this race. There's Swift now, who's still leading the race over Ure. Ure brought the gap back down to 1 second, roughly. And so, all of a sudden, we got drivers who have some absolutely mad orders to try and make back up. Keelan Lee says, still 50 minutes to gain some decent positions. Swift is one of the quickest and most consistent drivers I race against. I can completely second that, obviously. Swift is a very consistent driver here, but at the moment, Ure is putting the pressure on him. 7 tenths now, 6 tenths now, and is starting to gain back some lost time. That Audi, slightly better on fuel than that Mercedes. So, oh, and look at this right now. Swift having to go to the inside to start the defense move. Turn 1 and 2 are killers if you get on the AstroTurf. I can completely second that, of course, because it will take you away. As well as Spoon, no doubt about that. You get those corners wrong, you are going for a roller coaster ride. SLM Polymer now in third, 3.2 seconds ahead of Doug Barrow, who's had to hang on for most of this race. 6 tenths now between the lead battle right here, so this could go this could be very, very tight between these two drivers. These guys still not letting a finger off of each other. 5 tenths right now, possibly gaining between these two guys, maybe-ish. But the Sidemax Motorworks Audi has done a very, very good job here to try and make up some lost ground in the championship. If he can keep this position, it would be a considerable points haul, considering Palmer's in third, which would be a good points haul for him as well. And Elliott's not here, and James Head, of course, having that spin, has got a lot of work to do to make back up. So Palmer, theoretically, would inherit the lead of this championship still. And Ure is just setting incredibly blistering fast lap times compared to his qualifying pace. So he is on qualifying trim right now as I speak. Now, Ure, what can he do on this lap? 59.2, which is still pretty good, but Swift 59.3. So, and they cut back. So, close racing between these two drivers. Oh my goodness me, this is going to be going down to the wire sooner than I thought. So. just see the gleaming light from that Audi. Looks to probably try and make a move onto the inside, try and force a mistake out of Swift, who is one of the most consistent drivers in the Straight Line Motorsports GT3 Championship. Continues to flicker the lights. I'm not sure if that's for a button of some sort that he keeps, or a command of some sort that he keeps hitting. But all of a sudden, Yuri is completely on the back bumper of this Mercedes, and it looks like a move might be made possibly to these S's right here, which the Audi is very, very good at, of course, but the Mercedes also good on the straights. You can see the mileage, or the kilometer difference between these two cars now. 361.9 for Swift, but a considerable 3,868 for Yuri. So a lot of experience on this chassis right here. Is he going to make a move down to the inside of Spoon? Oh, and they both hit each other, and that's a bit of contact right there. Oh my goodness gracious. Yuri trying to make a move to the inside and has put a foot wrong, and he's got to quickly get back out on course. Oh, and Yuri tried forcing a move up on the inside of the hairpin and has lost a considerable amount of time to the race leaders. A 9-second deficit. Yuri has to make back up now to the race leader. And so Yuri, putting the pressure on the race leader Swift, had forced an incident and of course took each other both out. And that has penalized himself more than it did to Swift. But all of a sudden right now, Swift now having to defend from his own teammate, which are right with each other. You of course don't want to force an issue. And Doug Barrow now with an 8-10 penalty, I assume he still is trying to clear that penalty out, is now down in third, or is now up to third I should say. Benel 85 in fourth. He's had a strong run so far. And of course Yuri now into fifth, so he's got a lot of work to do. Oh, and there's a tight little battle going on here for 7th between Hairraiser and TGIS. Can the torque of the BMW keep it going? And the BMW looks like it might be just about to hang on into the front. Oh, and he's gone wide, and it's let Hairraiser go through into 7th place. So that's more drama to be seen in this race. James Head still trying to make up lost ground in 9th. And K&K Don, of course, he's had an incident somewhere, a 229 on lap 6. So he's had an incident somewhere on the course. So that's not good right there. A lot of time lost. And Doug Barrow all of a sudden has slowed up massively. Oh, and Ben L85 has gone sideways out of that corner as well. Let's let Yuri pass. So Yuri, all of a sudden, in the Sidemax Motorsport, Keelan Lee says one brave dive into Lasher King can be the answer to Yuri's needs. And then all of a sudden, with that incident, I'm not going to talk. I'm not sure if that's commentator's curse or if that's just teammate curse right about there. It's one of the two, but it's just things are happening. Now with 2-10 penalty, you know what? I think with the penalty that Doug Barrow has had to serve, he's slowed up to serve it, but he's served a sizable margin of it, either on this lap or the lap prior. So a 53 going into the 55 going into the chicane. Now, yeah, he's had an incident somewhere on this lap. I'm not sure what happened to him this lap, but all of a sudden. So Benel 85 with just over 41 and a half minutes will make the first wave of pit stops in the number 8 Lexus. And SMM and Yuri has gone through into 3rd place over Doug Barrow, which I assumed with that penalty he has served it, which in turn has given the position away to Yuri, which I think he knows is a much considerably faster car here for today's race. And Yuri, all of a sudden, it will be a man on a mission right now. Completely throw the tires out, push as much as you can, over the guys in front who are on considerably worse tire wear than you up front. And if you could try and make some lost ground up, you would be finding yourself back up into a potential race win here. Doug Barrow going a bit wide. V12 man in 5th, so he's made up some ground somewhere. Hair Razor in 6th, and TJIS in 7th now with a 2/10 penalty. James Head now still trying to make up lost time. And Ben L85, the first of the people on the pit stops, he comes out in 9th. And K Dot, of course, setting the fastest lap of the race, which is quite a surprise considering the man that he is in last. So he has set the pace as well, but he has got a lot of work to make up to be able to challenge for at least a top 5 finish. Swift coming into the pits with 40 minutes to go, so we are starting to see the leaders come into the pits. What will Yuri do? He will come into the pits right now, so very, very interesting drama going on right about now between the 95 and the 77. Better fuel than the Mercedes that the Audi has. He will go out on about 87 liters of fuel, so Palmer will inherit the lead, and Swift comes out in 4th. Yuri coming out in 7th, and he will get jumped by Ben L85. So Yuri with the first stop will come out in 8th. And to Swift, that is a sizable margin to try and make up. Palmer in the lead. He's got to make a pit stop. Doug Barrow in 2nd now. He's got to make his first stop at the race. V12 man, the 99 BMW finding its way into 3rd. And then the first of the guys on the pit stop cycle will be Swift. TJIS in the 78 will be coming in, as well as James Head, which he still has a lot of ground to make up, unfortunately. And then there was Ben L85, and then Yuri, which is putting on a lot of pressure. And he gets a penalty for cutting the course of some sort. You don't want to make the same mistake you did, which is a good thing. So now, these Sidemax Motorworks Audis have got a lot of work to do if they want to challenge for a potential race win here. And what Yuri has got to do at this rate is got to get quickly get past that Lexus, which is absolutely holding it up. And I think a move into 130R into that final chicane might be the work. He is putting on the flashers, so he is telling him to go by. And while this is happening, Palmer in the pits getting some new Pirelli rubber on that Total sponsored Mercedes, which looks very, very good, by the way. Doug Barrow and V12 man will be coming out. TGIS and James Head all come in. TGIS will get the fuel. And Palmer has jumped the Audi of Yuri and is ahead by 6.5 seconds roughly. So we will be paying attention to Yuri quite a fair bit in this race to see what kind of work he can make back on up. 3rd, 4th, and 5th now. Swift, Palmer, and Yuri. And Ben L85, Hair Razor, K Dot, TJIS, and James Head all making their stops. Oh, and V12 man almost getting it loose. He gets it loose, but almost not very loose. So the top 2 now have got to make their stops because Swift is 2.9 seconds down, 3 seconds down off of V12 man in the BMW. So now he's got a lot of work to do. On board in the BMW M6 GT3. This is a car you don't really see a lot of. A 2-minute .22 in the BMW. It's So I imagine he will come into the pits this time by, as well as the 13 Costa Honda of Doug Barrow. Yes, he will come in, and will as V12 man. So, and you can see right there, fastest lap for Doug Barrow of 59.7, and Swift will inherit back the lead. So, pit stop cycle with the first round of pit stops done. Swift going into the first corner, Palmer going into the first corner, and Ure passing the pit exit now. So 6 seconds down off Palmer and 10 seconds down off of Swift. We have seen the qualifying pace that Ure can do. It's just a question of whether he can keep his head down and not force another issue like he has done so far. And I imagine that I imagine that incident will be under investigation surely after this race, for a fact. Let's keep an eye on K&K Dot, who has a 1 second penalty and has just been setting consistent 59 laps of 57, which I imagine will be, which is out lap. And he's making up a lot of lost time right now. 20 seconds right now. Oh, and Hair Raiser gets a foot wrong. Nearly getting in the way of K&K Dot. But K&K Dot is on a tear right now through this field. And if anything, Ure will definitely want him up there as soon as possible. If K&K can keep his consistency, he will get a fifth at least with 34 minutes remaining. And if he doesn't get any more penalties, except for this one, he will definitely be on for a fifth, because fifth place is not that far up the road from him. As you get further up the field is where you start seeing this field more spread out. Ben L85 in fourth. Ure with a 5/10 penalty, so that's not good news right there. Oh my lord, these Audis. They're good in pace, but the penalties, they will keep hitting them with penalties. A 59.4 for Swift, which is a very, very good time in itself. A 2:02 for Palmer. And the gap for the top two is starting to grow and stay stagnant for the guys in second and third. Ure rounding the first corner now. He's got a lot of work to do right now. Doug Barrow, about 8/10 off of V12 man. And then also, look at this, K&K Dot has definitely got himself most likely a fifth based on his pace. Because like I said, he is setting some absolutely blistering times right about now. Swift still ahead by 5 seconds over his teammate. Palmer rounding through the 130R into the chicane, as well as Ure, who's just far behind, who's a little ways away. And then we have a little battle going on right now, maybe for V12 man and K&K Dot, as V12 man gets it wide. He's got to be careful on the brakes, obviously, because he doesn't want to overshoot it. K&K Dot does a good job respecting his line. Can he keep it on the inside? K&K Dot throws it up the outside. That's a move you don't see a lot made. That's a pass you don't see made often. But K&K Dot has made the move stick for sixth place. And with 31 minutes to go, this race will be going very, very interesting indeed between these drivers. Doug Barrow now, still in fifth. after his pit stops, Ben L85 on an earlier stop is still in 4th. A good showing for Ben L85 as well. He consistently finished in the top 5 with some luck in the end of the race for Bathurst. And then Ure finished 1 position ahead of him, which is kind of the same identical thing right here. Another racer I want to take a look at is James Head, who is still trying to make up lost ground, but unfortunately is 36 seconds down off the leaders, and that gap is considerably growing. So, and he's coming into this weekend 3rd on points, so this would not be a good day for him if he gets 10th. Otherwise, he would lose a considerable amount of points in this championship with this race. Swift still doing an incredible job right now. 9.5 seconds is the gap. And when it comes to these straights, that Audi loses down on them, but in the corners, is an absolute rocket machine. Can make up some time. And L85, cool, just getting it almost wrong out of that corner. Oh, and V12 man has got it all wrong into the chicane. Can he save it? And it looks like no damage. Oh, and he spins it wrong. And that's going to cost him a position to hair raiser. Maybe even to his own teammate TJIS, who is right there. So that's even another position down for V12 man and potentially James Head, who can probably capitalize on this. Oh my goodness me. While all this is happening, the field now starting to spread out a bit more now. And, of course, the drama is not far from over. We still have about 28.5 minutes left of this race. Ure is starting to make up the ground a little bit. He's now within 9 seconds of the leader, so he's made up about a second or so between these guys. And he is currently faster than these guys, so current standings right now, not seeing a lot except for Doug Barrow, who has set his fastest personal his personal best sector 1. Not the fastest sector 1, but he is considerably close to that first sector time. Taking a look at some of the sector times right now for the top 3 compared to the fastest lap, you can see that Ure is, for the most part, going quicker. Ben L85 with the best sector 3 for himself, and so is Doug Barrow. So, is there a battle raging on? Yes, there is. So these guys are starting to push themselves a little bit faster than normal. And of course, these guys are trying to push each other just like as K&K Dot is, who still has that 1 second penalty, and Ure is still having that 4/10 penalty. And has got the gap down to 3.8 seconds between himself and SLM Polymer. And of course, between Polymer and Swift, it is a further 5 seconds. on board now with the number 13 Honda NSX of Doug Barrow, who's still trying to make up some lost ground to the Lexus of Ben L85, who has had a strong race so far, a very consistent race for the guy up front. Oh, and Yuri's put a foot wrong somewhere with a lot of damage, so I do not know what happened to the number 77 Audi. So he's put a foot wrong somewhere. The pole sitter right now maybe starting to feel a little bit of pressure himself. A 2:06 last lap, and unfortunately has had that as, and now the gap to second and third has considerably grown by a large margin. Was at 3.8 last time. Let's see what happened right here. A 53.0 for Yuri. So I assume he's either had an incident at Spoon, because 130R is after the sector line into sector 4. So he's had an incident somewhere, and he's obviously losing a lot of time, obviously, so he's got to do a lot of work now to get up there to make up some lost ground. And as these two guys in the total sponsored Mercedes continue to get away from the rest of the field. Ben L85 still in fourth. Doug Barrow's still in fifth. And then I saw a battle somewhere going on. I think it was between these two cars. Yes, it is, between V12 Man and James Head. So, while the majority of the field is spread out, it looks as if these two guys are still going at each other. They are way down the order, unfortunately, but with 23 minutes to go, we should be looking at our final wave of stops coming in pretty soon, as Swift, who jumped at the pole sitter Yuri on the start, has grown that gap by a considerable margin and has not put a foot wrong in this race at all. And K&K Dot comes into the pits with 23 minutes remaining. Those Audis are really good on the fuel, so if he can stretch out that margin just a fair bit and try and make up that lost time, at the moment, in the Sidemax Motorworks Audi, number 04, he will come out in 10th, and I assume because, yep, he filled up that fuel tank, so he will be good on fuel, but this gives him some breathing room and some opportunity to try and make up some lost time. He is now 46 seconds down to the leaders. So now with the first wave of final pit stops coming in for the weekend, can we see some development go on in the race? Doug Barrow now, comparing the sector times to Ben L85, has been considerably quicker, and this battle might be starting to brew up a little bit, as Doug Barrow has had to do a lot of work in the 13 Honda to make up some lost time. I heard some tires squealing, of course. Yuri making up a bit of time, so I imagine Palmer has had an incident somewhere, I think. And by looking at the sector times, a very slow sector for Palmer that lap, 59.6, so he's had a slow lap of a 59.6, but what can Yuri do? He's had a 59.7 last lap. No, I apologize, a 58 dead. Or no, I'm sorry, 59.7. A 2-minute 4 for Palmer last lap, but a 59.7 for Yuri. And Swift continues to set consistent lap times at the moment. Oh, and there's an incident right there for Ben L85, who it looked like he got it wide into turn 1, and that has forced Doug Barrow to take 4th place away from the Lexus, number 8 Lexus of Ben L85. And now we have a Honda now in the top 4. That Honda is very good on fuel. And the Lexus, I imagine, is going to have to come in for pits. Now keep in mind, these guys have a 5-minute pit window apart from each other. So, Ben L85 will have to come in on this lap. And Doug Barrow can stretch out this fuel as much as he can to give himself the best rubber that he could possibly have for this final stint of this race. And it looks like the action between the back of the field now is starting to unfold. K and K Dot. Last lap with a 59.0. That's a very, very quick lap indeed. A 59.007 compared to the pace-setting car of Ure. And Swift, just under 20 minutes ago, will make his final stop. He will sacrifice the lead. No, I saved that. Polymer will come in. Now this is make Ure come into the pits. Yes, it will. So this will be a race just on pure pace between the top 3 for these guys. Ure will follow suit in the V10 powered Audi. The mid-engine car, which suits the track very, very well. Ben L85 will come on in as well. Swift now will come out in front to solidify that lead. And Doug Barrow will come out in second, only 2 seconds behind. So this race will come down to the wire for most of these guys. Polymer now will come out in third, only 2 seconds behind Doug Barrow, of course. And Ure, who I think put slightly less fuel in than Swift, which is a very, very good thing, but Ure still has to serve that penalty, of course. So, of all things considered, this could be a very, very interesting race to finish for most of these guys. K and K Dot with a 9/10 penalty, so he's got to serve that, obviously. I think he made his pit stop a while, not that long ago. He might have done it this lap. I think he might have done it this lap, I'm pretty sure. We will wait and see, but Hair Razor out of the pits, James Head out of the pits. Who does not have, who makes up? So the 2 BMWs in 4th and 5th and 6th have to make their stop, and Doug Barrow in 2nd will have to make his final stop. So the race panning out here will be super, super close. Ben L85 will have to do the work of defending against these very, very quick and very, very fast Audis here, which are very, very strong around this course. And every time I say very, very, please take a shot. And no, I do not have any liquor in front of me as I speak. Doug Barrow now, he will come into the pits, sacrificing that 2nd place with a lot of fuel to play with here. So this will be interesting to see what he can do. Ure now popped back up in the 3rd. Waiting still for the Honda to pop out. And where does he pop out? He pops out in 4th, just ahead of TJIS, who also has to make his stop. V12 man makes his stop. K and K Dot still trying to find up some time. 3/10 penalty served. Yet to be served, I said. James Head coming through the final corner now. And V12 man has gone down the 9th, but is on considerably fresh rubber, as well as Doug Barrow. So TJIS will be the last man to pit. And that gives the guys with a fresh rubber some breathing room here to try and challenge to make some pace up against the guys who are on slightly worn rubber. Oh, and a 1.2 second penalty for Ure, which he has to serve still. So the two leading Mercedes have not put a foot wrong in this race. So now, the gap now, 5 seconds now, 5.5 seconds now with Swift to Palmer, and 6.5 between Palmer and Ure. So, it's about a 12-second gap now that Ure has to try and make up. He's taking the corners super aggressively to try and make up some lost time, of course. Ure has just been on an absolutely mad charge to try and make up some lost time. So TGIS will come into the pits at this time. Yes, he will, for his final stop with 15 minutes to go. And this gives him some choices. Then L85 and Doug Barrow go on through. K&K Dot has served that penalty, that time penalty, so he was good. And TGIS, which doesn't have to put in a lot of fuel, will come out in 9th, just ahead of James Head. Yellow flags are waving, but that's just for the in-game pit cycle, so just got to be wary of that. Oh, and James Head has put a foot wrong again in the final corner, so that is not good news there for him. Oh, and Swift picked up a 1-second penalty from something. I'm not sure what it was. He might have cut the corner. So he will have to serve that penalty in a section, of course, where it won't cost him a lot of time. I imagine he's going to serve it after 130R, because theoretically it doesn't kill a lot of his time. Or after Degner 2, which he's passing over right about now. Swift's done an incredible job to keep this race lead, and he doesn't want to throw it out away right about now. And keep in mind, we will have podium finishing interviews after the race. So, as it stands, it would be Swift, Palmer, and Ure. And they're only using 5 gears, which is quite a surprise, considering the fact that it is a 6-speed car. Well, I imagine he stretched out the gears to maybe try and get some acceleration out of these cars, and stretch the fuel out maybe. Ure's still having that 1.2 second penalty, which he's got to serve. Let's take a look for any other extra battles that are going on the course. Here's one, of course. Hairraiser, V12 Man, and Ben L85. Ben L85 had an incident. It looks like he had an incident somewhere on the course. Or he's last lap 2. Where did he get an incident at? It didn't look like he had an incident somewhere. So I can't tell what kind of incident he had on the track. A 36. So he might have lost some ground into the first corner, maybe. And it has dropped him down all the way to 5th. Or to 8th, I apologize. And while we're keeping an eye on this, K&K Dot with a 58.951. So that's a new fastest lap of the race. And, of course, K&K Dot on a massive tear right now to try and get as much points as he can after his mass array of spins. So a top 5 for him would be a exceptionally strong showing here for the Audis, the Side Max Motorworks Audis, in the Straight Line Motorsports GT3 Championship. Doug Barrow also doing a good job in the Costa-sponsored Honda, where his teammate is in 6th. So, as it stands, Mercedes, Audi, Honda, And then you got the BMW, Lexus, BMW, Lexus, and we're starting to see a performance split between the rest of the field. Swift now has served that penalty, but in turn has had to sacrifice at least a second or so to his teammate. Ure now grabbing that gap down to 9.8 seconds and is now almost nearly 12 seconds up on his Doug Barrow, and he set the fastest Sector 1 time of anybody, a 33.2. Yes, he has gone faster than the guy, than K&K Dot, who set a 33.2. He's on a 33.219. What can he do here? A 19.4. So he's looking at a faster personal, he's looking at a personal best lap, but not a fastest lap of the race. 159.1s for the last 3 laps. So, with about 10 minutes to go, he's got to make about a second up a minute. So that's about 5 laps. He's got to make about 2 seconds a lap here to at least mount a challenge to the race leader. Just on the absolute edge of that curbing right about there, the AstroTurf, in that number 77 Audi. Palmer now. He kind of had a bad start at the beginning of this race, but has since recovered up into a P2 right about now. And at the moment, we're looking at a Mercedes 1-2 in this race. So the previous gen Mercedes is of Superboy getting a P3, showing the pace and continuing that momentum here this weekend for the run of Mercedeses. And Mercedes has been very, very good indeed. Palmer getting second, and he will continue that streak of podiums coming this race, and he will nab the points lead as well. He will also beat Ure as well, which he will take second in points at this rate, plus his 4th place finish at Thirst. So, not all is lost. 4 points. But Palmer now will take the championship lead of this race unofficially for Elias not being here. A comfortable margin for Doug Barrow, who still remains in 4th of this race. So he's doing a good job keeping that cost-sponsored Honda in the 4th position. K&K Dot 59.5, 59.6 last couple of laps in the 04 Side Max Motorworks Audi. Then Hair Razor in the 60, doing a good job for these guys. V12 man in 7th, the leading BMW. Ben L85, the leading Lexus in 8th. These two make up 7th and 8th. And then TJIS. And Ben L85 has a 5/10 penalty, so that gap of 1.5 seconds is going to go up drastically a bit more. TJIS 78 in 9th. And then James Head still having to find some lost ground in 10th. 47 seconds down, so unfortunately his day at this rate might be done. So we'll soldier home with the max amount of points that he can grab. Margin of 4.8 seconds. And then, of course, Palmer almost getting it off, which would be very, very bad at this stage of the race. A 59.5 for him as his personal best lap of the race. And all of a sudden, Ure has got that gap down to 3.4 seconds. So, if anything, don't count a Mercedes 1-2 because of this man right here, who will try and put a stop to that with about roughly 6 minutes and 5 seconds to go. So do not count anything out of these motor races. 1.1 second penalty now. So I assume he's going to try and serve the penalties in the corners, maybe? I do not know. We will have to wait and see about that. But the gap now, 3.3, and is starting to climb down a little bit. Polymer has got significantly more fuel and worse tire wear than the Audi. So, and now 3 seconds now at the line. So the gap now from Polymer to Ure is starting to come down a little bit, and this could change things drastically between these two. So like I said, do not count out. So don't count on 100% a Mercedes 1-2, because you got the Cymax Motorworks Audi of Ure, the 77, who can still mount a charge and potentially split the party and spill the troubles between the Mercedes squad. The only caveat that Polymer has going for is that 1 second penalty. That he knows he has the penalty. He knows that it says 1 second. All Polymer can do is, if he can hold him up enough to where he can still hold that penalty as well, by the end of this race, Polymer will guaranteed be second. Swift right about now. 6.1 seconds. That gap has grown the last time we checked it, which was about 5.5 or 5 seconds. And like I said, the gap has just gone up a little bit. Duck Barrow still going in. And K Dot right now still on a tear right now with this trio of 59, with his quad of 59s. So we quadrupled the 59s, and you're getting a man who was an absolute terror right about now to try and make up some lost ground. Hair Razor, B12 man. Oh, and B12 man has actually made a move somewhere to get past the Honda of Hair Razor right about now. So B12 man right now having to do the heavy load once again, trying to make up some lost ground. Oh, there was almost a bit of contact made right there, so that's close stuff right about there between the two drivers. Hair Razor going a bit wide to try and stretch the gap out, maybe get that slipstream back. And B12 man going to the inside. Hair Razor moves to the other way. But nothing doing there. Swift still ahead. And all of a sudden, that gap between Ure and Polymer has grown back significantly to 8 seconds. I wonder what happened to Ure. And he's had a terrible first sector, a 39.8, so I'm assuming he's gone off somewhere in the first sector. Oh my goodness me. But while we monitored this battle between B12 man and Hair Razor, and probably Ben L85 will probably try and get on the action here as well. But just oh so close racing, and Hair Razor tries to force a move on the inside. Nothing doing there just yet. The defense card still being played by B12 man is not letting Hair Razor go, but Hair Razor's got something to say about that. Oh, he forces the issue wide, and B12 man just lets Hair Razor go, presuming on the fact that he's low on fuel. Swift will come through for the final lap of this race. Polymer will come through as well. Ure will come through as well. So will Doug Barrow. K Dot as well. But look at this, a 3-car battle all of a sudden growing This is just amazing stuff right here. And Ben L85 all of a sudden is on the back foot right here. Oh, the dirty air affects Ben L85 drastically, and he has to take avoiding action into 130R. And TGIS 78 with a 4/10 penalty. Ben L85 with a 3/10 penalty. Oh my goodness gracious me. And I thought I saw someone else get served a penalty. No. So this is just Ben L85 and TGIS, both with 3/10 penalties. And they've got a lot of work to do. James Head now could try and make something work out of these two having their penalties. But the battles for 6th all the way to 10th is just super, super close. And they're not giving each other a single bit of room. So low on fuel. But Hair Razor, I think, will probably have the better way of doing this. But the tire wear of V12 Man is still there. I think the low fuel affecting these BMWs might be hauling back their performances. But let's go back up to the front right now. We're Swift, low on fuel. Palmer is definitely good on fuel. And Ure, of course, that gap growing. So a 35 in the first sector, so his day might be done, unfortunately. It is now go back up to the front for the final time on through the chicane right here. This man has not put a foot wrong except for that incident with Ure earlier, but coming across the start finish line now, taking his first win of the season, it will be Swift in the 95, taking his first win of the season, and his teammate Palmer making it a Mercedes 1-2. And then, of course, the man in third. It looked like he was going to walk off away with it, but the incidents that had played a part, he will still come home through for a P3 finish at Suzuka. Ure takes the 77 Audi to a podium finish. And Doug Barrow with a strong performance as well. He will come home fourth, and then a recovery drive by K&K Dye. He will take 5th place at Suzuka in the 04 sister Max Motorworks Audi. This 5-car train not far from over. Hair Razor will hang on into 6th, obviously. Ben L85, can he hold on? It's going to be side by side across the line, and it looked like Ben L85 lost the positions at the line. Oh no, he's had to serve that penalty anyway, so let's give him a 1-second penalty. But taking victory in the pro category will be the 95 Mercedes of Swift, who started second and jumped the pole sitter into the first corner, and he has not looked back ever since. So a strong showing for all of these guys. So there are your race results right about there. We will quickly invite the podium finishers into the party. So what a great day for racing. So close, super, super intense. And now we invite the podium finishers of Ure, Swift, and then Palmer. So we invite these guys on in. And so we invite them in, obviously, into the party. After a very strong day, you could see it was Hair Razor that got up into 6th. But then, of course, that 1-second penalty would have made the difference between everything. And of course, we start to have our podium finishers join in the party. And we have a race winner here, Swift in the 95 Mercedes AMG. Swift, I know that was a very tough one for you, but how do you feel right about now taking your first win of the season?
Pretty tired. Yeah, that was a long race. It was. I think I drove pretty clean. I think I got a 1-second penalty once for taking a little too much out of the final chicane, and I think on the very final lap I went wide at Spoon because I got distracted by the battle from 6th. I was looking at the mini-map. But other than that, I think it was pretty clean. I just pitted on... It was always going to be a 2-stopper, and then pitted on lap 10 and 20. Kept the pace pretty good around mid-59s. I didn't have the pace of the Audis, but I think their tyres went off quicker than the Mercedes. It was a good fight with Ure for the opening stint. I don't know what happened at the hairpin. That was the closest he was to me, and I saw him in the mirror, so I went narrow on the brakes. In terms of the track, I didn't take my usual line, and then I got a hit, and I don't know what happened. But I managed to recover it. I didn't lose the position to Palmer just by about half a second, and then I think I undercut Palmer by 1 lap at the end of stint 1, and then I was able to maintain that gap for the rest of the race. So yeah, it was pretty fun.
Yeah, I was about to say the incident into the hairpin with you and Ure. It looked like that Ure got up on the inside of you, and of course, I don't think he. It looked like he overdrove the car. Then it was out of his control. So it was kind of something interesting, nonetheless, between you and Ure.
I think he may have just been making a move and maybe just got it, he misjudged it, or maybe he got the toe and he was going faster than he was in the previous laps or something. Because I know dirty air now has an effect, and maybe it was something to do with that.
Yeah, it might have been the brakes as well, but that's a discussion for another day. We do move on to the man who placed second, of course, SLM Polymer, with another strong showing for second place. And unofficially, you do take the championship lead with the absence of Elia. How do you feel right about now?
I can't describe it at the moment. I never thought coming into this that it'll be Mercedes 1-2, and I never made any proper moves. It was only people making mistakes. So, after my rubbish start, I didn't think I'll be getting up second.
Yeah, it looked like it looked like he had to withstand a lot of pressure too from Ure, but every time it looked like he was getting closer to you guys, he kind of always forced a mistake on his own, and it pretty much just solidified you guys as on for getting a 1-2. So it looked like that Ure, the man who got pulled by like half a second or something like that, it looked like he was going to walk off the course, but obviously it looked like you and teammate Swift were able to capitalize for a 1-2, obviously.
Yeah. Because every time we made a mistake, I was, getting happier and happier. I think if we didn't make those mistakes, he would definitely be past me by like halfway point. So I'm quite happy about that.
Well, yeah, there you go, have it. And it's sometimes the quick guy isn't the most consistent, and unfortunately, Ure, of course, was not able to join us for the party, as mentioned on the Discord. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Round 2 of the Straight Line Motorsports GT3 Championship comes to a close here, with Swift taking the win in Pro, and then, of course, having won in Pro-Am was Dirtude in the Aston Martin. So until next time, ladies and gentlemen, I have been your host and commentator for the day, SDM_RRDZ, and we hope you enjoyed today's broadcast of the Straight Line Motorsports GT3 Championship, and we'll see you guys next time.